The city walls of the human city were so high one couldn't see the top at a glance. If it weren't for those experts flying in the air with their avatars, it would be almost impossible to see this spectacular battle from within the city. Old sir, me, and me. With a wave of his hand, Lu Zhou sent the three of them flying toward the city wall. The deafening sounds of battle reached their ears, and when the three of them landed on the city wall, they were stunned by the scene before them. The head of the Vermilion Bird Hall, Yang Yan, sent dozens of gentle edge people flying like a goddess scattering flowers. The gentle edge people spat out blood and were thrown backward. From a distance, the Lulan people continuously cast witchcraft, streaks of purple energy combining with the gentle edge people in the air. The battle was too chaotic. If Yang Yan, just one of the four great protectors of the underworld sect, was this powerful, then how strong were the other protectors? You know about the underworld sect as well? The master of the underworld sect is the great disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion. Everyone knows that. The gentle edge people were agile, lacking the cultivation methods of Confucianism, Buddhism, or Taoism. They worshipped wild wolves and never acted alone. Their avatars were also wolf-shaped, possessing terrifying self-healing and defensive capabilities. However, barbarians were ultimately barbarians. There was a reason the Great Flame could intimidate the 12 nations. You have a lot of confidence in the Great Flame? Alas, I have confidence in Emperor Yongshou, but as for Yongqing, it's better not to mention him. There are things that the top of the whitelist dare not say. Old sir, the blacklist and whitelist are not ranked by cultivation. My position at the top is just a joke. In comparison, the blacklist has more reference value. The top of the whitelist is merely a 5-leaf, and there are some with poor cultivation on the blacklist as well. Master, what is that? A Wolf King avatar. Judging by its size, it should be a 6-leaf Wolf King avatar. The Wolf King avatar soared into the sky, stepping on a golden lotus as 6 leaves bloomed in rotation. Why aren't their avatars human? It's so strange, yet they also have golden lotuses. The path of cultivation relies on the techniques and incantations left by our predecessors. These incantations contain the cultivation philosophies of various sects, and these philosophies guide one's spiritual will. If I, as your master, want my forceful energy to become a blade, it becomes a blade. If I want it to be a sword, it becomes a sword. The same applies to the avatar, but it's difficult to change an avatar in the later stages, as it's already shaped at the beginning of cultivation. The three great schools of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism initiated an era of great contention, and human cultivation entered a golden age. 30,000 years have passed in a flash, and a detailed classification has long been formed. The three great schools result in 3 types of avatars. Foreigners influenced by the Great Flame will choose to practice Great Flame techniques and manifest human avatars. Conversely, those who are not influenced have their own tribal beliefs. The gentle edge people believe in the Wolf King, so they manifest a wild wolf avatar. I have been taught, are there really 10,000 foreign tribes? Lu Zhou didn't know much about these things and could only give a general answer. According to the records, there are indeed over 10,000 foreign tribes. In Liang State City alone, there are people from the Great Flame who speak with different accents, not to mention the western and northern frontiers. Over a long period, through constant warfare, integration, and annexation, the current situation has gradually formed. Are they as powerful as the Great Flame? Not quite. Why does the Wolf King avatar also have a golden lotus, if he didn't secretly learn Great Flame techniques? Xin Liangshou was momentarily stunned. He had never considered this question and, for a moment, didn't know how to answer. Master, why is that? Strangely enough, even with Ji Tiandao's vast memories, he couldn't find a reasonable explanation. It's like how both humans and animals need to eat. The essence is the same. Little Yuaner scratched her head, indicating she didn't understand. The 6-leaf Wolf King avatar pounced on Yang Yan's 6-leaf avatar. Forceful energy crisscrossed the sky, and a fierce wind raged, sweeping up anyone who got too close. Protector Yang, I'll help you. Gan Hong controlled his 4-leaf avatar and swooped in at a low altitude, instantly turning the situation into a 2-on-1 fight. The gentle edge expert fought with increasing valor, backed by hundreds of Lulan people casting witchcraft. They are minor witchcraft cultivators. No need to worry. Without great sorcerers like Moli or Bama, these buffs are not key to turning the tide of the battle. Besides, this is outside Liang State City. Without a massive formation, the witchcraft is ineffective. The gentle edge expert struck 3 consecutive times. The Wolf King avatar split into 3. 2 pounced on Yang Yan, and 1 on Gan Hong. Yang Yan retreated repeatedly, maneuvering his avatar to fly toward the city wall. Gan Hong, being only a 4-leaf, was sent flying backward by the heavy blow and retracted his avatar mid-flight. This gentle edge expert is that strong? The Wolf King avatar has strong explosive power and great attack strength. Yang Yan must have been greatly exhausted before this. If it were a fair fight, Yang Yan would not lose. The problem is, where in the world can you find fairness? There were archers on the city wall, drawing their energy-infused arrows and attacking the foreigners flying in the air. Bad news. The 4th prince is leading a counterattack from the south of the city. Lu Bing has colluded with the foreigners. Send a flying letter to inform Mr. 7th of this. The underworld sect's situation suddenly became difficult, attacked from both front and rear. With the protection of the city walls and formations, there was no immediate danger, but if if this dragged on, the underworld sect would surely suffer. What is Siwaya up to? The foreigners are too arrogant, truly detestable. Although the underworld sect is a demonic sect, at least they know to resist the foreigners. How could the fourth prince, Lu Bing, collude with them? Why aren't the formations activated? They can't be. The underworld sect was able to occupy Lian State City so easily precisely because the formations were controlled. If all 6 of the fourth prince's generals arrive, the underworld sect will be in trouble. But their highest cultivation is only the 8th meridian of the Brahma Sea realm. They can't help much. At most they can run down and kill some small fry when the battle is wrapping up. Ganhong crashed into the city wall, damaging it, but the wall was incredibly thick and didn't move an inch. Ganhong fell, supporting himself with one hand on the ground, and spat out a mouthful of blood. The underworld sect had suffered considerable losses, but the other side was no better off. They were evenly matched. You gentle edge people have always submitted to the Great Flame. Have your wings grown strong today? To use your Great Flame's words, times have changed. Do you really think the Great Flame is finished? Lu Bing has already promised us that if we take down the underworld sect, he will give us 3 of the 10 cities in Lian State. The implication is, would your underworld sect give more? There are no eternal enemies in this world, only eternal interests. Haluo's words clearly had a hidden meaning. If the underworld sect offered 4 or more cities, this group of foreigners would unhesitatingly turn against Lu Bing. Hearing this, Lu Zhou was somewhat surprised. Lu Bing had guarded the border for many years. How could he do something so humiliating? It was precisely those who guarded the borders who understood how hard-won every inch of land was, each inch forged with the blood of soldiers. How could it be so easily ceded? Unfortunately, you are facing the underworld sect. Yang Yan, I've fought you for 3 days and 3 nights, all the way from the western wilderness to Lian State City. You've got some skill. If you know what's good for you, surrender obediently. At a low altitude, numerous Lulan cultivators gathered, a troop of over 2,000, all of them cultivators with no ordinary people among them. The underworld sect, on the other hand, had only over 1,000 cultivators. On paper, the Gentle Edge and Lulan people had the advantage. In the high eastern sky, the sound of avatars colliding could be heard. The distance was too great, and only a sky full of golden light was visible. Catching a turtle in a jar? Or perhaps, a ploy to lure the enemy? What do you mean? Siwaya is no fool. Yang Yan is likely luring the enemy deep. When the time comes, the underworld sect will retreat en masse. Once the wolves are in the city, how can they be easily driven out? Lu Zhou looked at Xinliangshou. This analysis seemed to have some merit. He immediately grabbed Little Yuaner's hand. The foreigners launched another attack, flying towards the city wall. Quick, run! Lu Zhou, Little Yuaner, and Xinliangshou dropped from the city wall and flew at a low altitude into the city. The scene was too chaotic, with cultivators everywhere. Master, if we just leave like this, what about the common people? Don't worry. The night the underworld sect first attacked Lian State, most of the citizens evacuated. This isn't the ancient era. Evacuations are quick. No wonder I didn't see anyone when Master and I came in. Although most of the common people have evacuated, there are still many cultivators and ordinary people mixed in the city, taking advantage of the chaos to profit from the war, looting valuables everywhere. Xinliangshou was also such a person. Look to the east. The cultivators who had been watching the excitement from the trees all stopped and looked at the astonishing scene. 2 avatars, 7 to 8 meters tall, and another 7-meter tall avatar, 3 in a row, were flying through the air. Behind them, 3 or 4 more avatars were in pursuit. The other 3 protectors of the underworld sect, and the giant chariot. This is bad. The underworld sect is retreating. It really was a ploy to lure the enemy. At the same time, the entire flying troop of over 1,000 people retreated in such a short time, which was clearly an organized and premeditated plan. Looking at the western city wall, the Lulan and Gentle Edge people flew in slowly. The huge formation of over 2,000 people moved rather slowly. The witchcraft cultivators flew to the front, continuously releasing circles of purple light to survey the nearby formations to prevent falling into traps. The situation had evolved into a struggle between Lu Bing and the foreigners. Right here, Lu Zhou pointed to a pavilion in the city. The 3 of them went up to the pavilion. Just as they did, fierce fighting sounds came from the south, with forceful energy blooming across the sky. Didn't the underworld sect retreat from the south? Why are they fighting again? The Great Flame's army, a woman in brocade clothes, holding a pink paper umbrella, was fiercely fighting with the underworld sect. Brocade clothes sister, Li Jini, wasn't Wei Zhuoyan defeated any state? Why would he be reinforcing Lian State? Jian Aijian, is this guy really Siwia's nemesis? Li Jini alone cannot be a match for the 4 great protectors. The divine capital must have sent an 8-leaf expert. The underworld sect is finished. The foreigners, Lu Bing, Li Jini, 3 sides are enclosing the underworld sect. 4 forces were suspended high in the air. This situation was almost a certain death trap. Would the number 1 demonic sect in the world fall here because of the Battle of Lian State? Does the old sir have any brilliant insights? If Yu Zhenghai were here, he could turn this situation around. Xinliangshou's eyes widened. Was Yu Zhenghai in the flying chariot or not? I'm just thinking about how to get out of here. The 4 most powerful forces in Lian State have all appeared. It seems like a coincidence, yet it also seems destined. The city suddenly fell quiet. The avatars disappeared, and the surging primal energy and forceful energy also vanished. Over 1,000 1,000 cultivators of the underworld sect surrounded the huge flying chariot, standing back to back facing the other three directions. To the west was the formation of over 2,000 Lulan and gentle edge people. To the north was the current fourth prince of the Great Flame, Lu Bing, and his 6 generals. To the east was Li Jini, with a small flying chariot not far behind her. 3 forces had surrounded the underworld sect's flying chariot. The underworld sect could only break out to the south, but the south was a formation area, the place with the most traps. You don't want to see the underworld sect get caught? I don't. But right now, if Yu Zhenghai isn't here, this is a certain death situation. Ganging up on them, shameless. This little outburst of temper made Shen Liangshou look at her in a new light. In any case, this was also what he was thinking. He had previously found this little girl fierce, but now he found her quite cute. Remember, in the world of cultivation, there is never such a thing as fairness. Your disciple understands. After a long period of silence among the 4 forces, the 4th prince, Lu Bing, was the first to break it. I wonder which leader of the Imperial Guards has come to reinforce us in time. Xiang Wei, West Guardian of the Divine Capital, greets the 4th Highness. It was truly said that the Divine Capital was full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. It was not false at all. There were even rumors that half of all the 8-leaf experts in the world were gathered in the Divine Capital. Over time, people came to understand a principle. No matter how high one's cultivation was, one had to act with a low profile in the Divine Capital. So it is Uncle Xiang. Lu Bing has been impolite. Your Highness the 4th Prince, long time no see. I won't hold past matters against you for now. Right now, let's deal with the underworld sect first. That won't do. You want to resolve your internal conflicts so you can turn around and attack me? Insolence. Xiang Wei let out a thunderous roar, which rolled towards Haluo like thunder. In that square-shaped massive formation, the robes of the witchcraft cultivators glowed with purple light, and they simultaneously produced a resonating sound. The sound wave and the word insolence cancelled each other out. Despite this, Haluo's face was still filled with horror, his mind affected by the sound wave. Your Highness the 4th Prince, is this how you treat your guests? Uncle Xiang's temper has always been like this. You are a gentle edge person, and behind you are Lulan witchcraft cultivators. We are just each taking what we need. Yu Zhenghai of the underworld sect single-handedly broke into Lulan, slaughtered over 10,000 of its cultivators, and bullied the weak. This blood feud must be avenged. I will accept this favor from you as an opponent. The things Yu Zhenghai did after leaving the evil Sky Pavilion had always been controversial. If Lulan had not submitted to the Great Flame, killing the Lulan foreigners would have been just that. But after Lulan submitted, they even sent a princess for a political marriage and paid tribute every year. Yu Zhenghai's actions at that time brought the relationship between the Great Flame and Lulan to a freezing point. Although Sect Master Yu is the great disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion, from what I know, he is also a person who distinguishes clearly between love and hate. It's impossible for him to attack Lulan without reason. Distinguishes between love and hate. To become the master of a sect, command the submission of hundreds of thousands of followers, and have experts like the 4 great protectors follow him with unwavering loyalty. How could he achieve that without sufficient personal charisma? Leadership is a skill. In this aspect, the original Ji Tiandao was truly inferior to his disciple, Yu Zhenghai. From the sky, a disdainful voice came from the underworld sect's flying chariot. Isn't it a bit too early to say you want to take down the underworld sect? Hua Chongyang, for all these years, you have caused trouble everywhere within the Great Flame's territory. The imperial family has always treated it as a dispute within the cultivation world and couldn't be bothered to intervene. But that doesn't mean you can act with such impunity. Imperial power has always been held by the capable and lost by the incompetent. This has been the principle since ancient times. Lu Yan has been on the throne for many years. Have the common people had a single good day? You are not yet qualified to speak to this king. Have your sect master come out. Who is sect master Yu? Do you think you can see him just by asking? Words are useless. You have no choice. The cultivators from the 3 sides moved forward a little, now only 100 meters away from the underworld sect. The atmosphere became tense, and a great battle was about to break out. If we really fight, you may not be a match for my underworld sect. Do you dare to take a single blow from my sect master's blade? Xiang Wei, in the flying chariot, frowned. His hand, resting on the armrest of the chair, suddenly clenched into a fist, his knuckles turning white, and a slight tremor appeared. Do these 6 generals behind you dare to fight me and Bai Yuqing? You pursued Yang Yan all this way. Do you really think Yang Yan and Di Qing can't take you down? What of the 3 forces? If we really fight, it's still uncertain who will win or lose. Stop playing psychological games with me. Yu Zhenghai, if you have the guts, come out now and fight me. Xiang Wei flew into the sky, and various shimmering golden characters and seals appeared on his body. Xiang Wei is actually from the Celestial Masters sect. The Celestial Masters sect excelled in talismans, which, as the name implies, involved imbuing Taoist seals onto the talismans. Yu Zhenghai, come out. Xiang Wei blasted out a sound wave with his primal energy, regardless of whether the people present could withstand it, only caring for his own satisfaction. As a result, the soldiers below had to cover their ears, trembling. Everyone's eyes were focused on the flying chariot, waiting for its response. They increasingly felt that Yu Zhenghai might not be there. If he were, how could he endure the humiliation of being besieged like this? Uncle Xiang. Xiang Wei frowned and looked at the war chariot where where Lu Bing was. It was clear that the voice came from a woman. A pleasing color to the eye, a pleasing sound to the ear. Yongning, master, sister Yongning is so beautiful. It's better to put up a barrier. Speaking like this can easily alert experts. It's best to be careful. An elegant and unique woman walked out of the war chariot. She was dressed in red, adorned with pearls on her temples, and her bright eyes were like stars in the moon. This was the Great Flames Princess Yongning, Lu Wenjun. Princess Yongning bowed to Xiang Lai, but this gesture truly frightened him. A ruler is a ruler, a minister, a father, a son. Though she showed respect verbally, how could he dare to actually let the princess perform a grand courtesy? Xiang Lai quickly lowered his altitude, raised a single palm, and a stream of forceful energy supported Princess Yongning. Princess, you flatter me. Uncle Xiang, didn't you go to East State? I was just passing by. This passing by was used so stiffly. Liang State was to the north of East State. It was not a place one would simply pass by. So it is Princess Yongning. Yongning, today is not the time for you to chit-chat. Do we really have to fight? If you want to plead for the underworld sect, then forget it. Step aside. Otherwise, when the fighting starts, no one will be able to look after you. Do you know why Father Emperor had me bring you here? Yongning certainly knew, but she was not angry or annoyed at all. Her tone was calm as she said, don't mind me. Take her down. Lu Bing waved his hand, and two generals escorted Yongning back to the war chariot. The moment his words fell, Hua Chongyang struck first. An avatar 8 to 9 meters high swelled up. Bai Yuqing, fight alongside me. Bai Yuqing did not activate his avatar. The two of them charged toward Lu Bing's direction like lightning. The flying chariot flew backward, and the 6 generals' faces darkened as they went up to meet them. Haluo activated his Wolf King avatar again and looked over at the flying chariot. Your opponent is me. Yang Yan and Di Qing leaped from the flying chariot and pounced toward the huge formation of foreigners. All 4 protectors on the flying chariot had left. The two sides immediately engaged in a fierce battle, their forceful energy crisscrossing. The soldiers below continuously retreated. The sounds were all of avatars colliding. It was dazzling. All the cultivators around the underworld sect's flying chariot gathered together, simultaneously mobilizing their primal energy to form a huge barrier that enveloped the giant chariot. This is fate. Your 4 subordinates have no chance to protect you. Yu Zhenghai, accept your death. Xiang Lai raised his hand and struck with his palm. A huge seal floated towards the giant chariot. The seal landed on the flying chariot and dissipated. Xiang Lai frowned, looked at the patterns on the flying chariot, and said in surprise, formation patterns of the Celestial Masters sect. At the same time, Yang Yan and Di Qing were also engaged in a great battle with the foreigners. The entire city of Lian State seemed to be occupied by avatars. Every cultivator in Lian State City looked up, watching this magnificent battle. The 4 great protectors were dealing with 2 forces and could still fight one-on-one. So how could the remaining giant chariot withstand the attack of the 8-leaf expert, Xiang Lai? Inside the flying chariot, it was exceptionally quiet. The disciples of the underworld sect guarded the flying chariot, undeterred. They believed in the person on the flying chariot, even if it meant fighting to the death. Yu Zhenghai, I have underestimated you. Do you plan to hide in your turtle shell for a lifetime? There was no response from the chariot. Was Yu Zhenghai in the flying chariot or not? In this situation, only Yu Zhenghai could turn the tide. Xiang Lai laughed heartily and raised his palm again, striking towards the flying chariot. A huge Taoist attack seal, dazzlingly bright. The flying chariot shook, and the formation patterns also started to crack. Sect Master, go quickly. Bai Yuqing, go back and support them. I'll hold them off. Bai Yuqing mobilized his awe-inspiring forceful energy and, in midair, attacked Xiang Lai. Hua Chongyang's pressure suddenly increased, fighting 1 against 6. 6 avatars surrounded him like pieces in a game of Go. The sound of thunderous collisions was incessant. In this kind of battle, there was no time to worry about the buildings below. The area beneath Liang State City had already become a field of ruins. Bai Yuqing attacked horizontally, but Xiang Lai sneered. A 7-leaf is still just a 7-leaf. Dozens of seals flew towards Bai Yuqing. There was always a gap in their realms. Bai Yuqing was sent flying backward and spat out a mouthful of blood. Annihilate the 4 great protectors of the underworld sect. Yu Zhenghai is not in the chariot. Xiang Lai knew Yu Zhenghai very well. If he were really here, he would have come out to dominate the situation long ago. Why would he be so timid? Yang Yan, do you really think a 6-leaf can lead a team? The golden lotus under the 4 hooves of the Wolf King avatar also grew larger. A leaf was added to a corner of the golden lotus. 7 leaves revolved around the golden lotus. In that formation, Haluo became even more powerful. Yang Yan and Di Qing were instantly sent flying by the Wolf King. The moment their avatars disappeared, both of them also spat out a mouthful of blood. It was clear that Hua Chongyang wouldn't last much longer either. Xiang Lai dove down towards the flying chariot, and the formation patterns cracked again. The more than 1,000 cultivators of the underworld sect were hit by Xiang Lai's 2 consecutive attacks, and under the sweep of his forceful energy, they all fell. Xiang Lai landed on the flying chariot, and primal energy surged, spreading from his energy center and energy sea to his feet, and then throughout the entire flying chariot. Xianglai had taken control of the underworld sect's flying chariot. It's empty as expected. In that case, let me shatter this giant chariot. From within the flying chariot, a figure shot out like lightning towards Xianglai's back. Who was Xianglai? He felt the danger coming from his back and immediately activated his protective forceful energy. Too late. Xianglai lunged forward as a strange force easily broke through his protective forceful energy. Uncle Xian, Lu Bing, controlling his war chariot and suspended in the air, saw this scene with a look of horror. He quickly shifted his gaze to the person on the flying chariot. The one who appeared was not Yu Zhenghai, but the seventh disciple of the evil sky pavilion, Siwuya. Siwuya retracted his palms, and the several paper talismans in his hands all burst into flames, disappearing between heaven and earth. Siwuya knew he wasn't dead, but heavily injuring Xianglai was enough. From the moment you stepped into Lian State City, you had already lost. Xianglai was a small surprise, but have you ever thought that the formations of Lian State City have always been intact? You did it on purpose? I suppose so. And this bunch of foreigners, from beginning to end, they were nothing more than a group of uncivilized animals in my eyes. Hearing this, Haluo became furious, and his Wolf King avatar swelled again. Perhaps provoked by Siwuya's words, the 2,000 cultivators in the witchcraft formation began to emit a thick purple mist from their bodies. Ha ha ha. Do you really think you've calculated everything? The Wolf King avatar continuously absorbed the purple mist, its form growing larger and larger. Mr. Seventh, your subordinate requests to retreat. The plan has succeeded. As long as we retreat, Haluo will definitely turn on Lu Bing. How could Siwuya not know that Haluo would have a backup plan? For so many years, only he and Yu Zhenghai knew how well they understood this group of foreigners. Proceed as planned? I have no choice. Lu Bing grabbed with one hand, and Princess Yongning was suspended in the air, bound. Siwuya, do you dare to leave? Want to reap the rewards without lifting a finger? Yongning, Mr. Seventh, please proceed as planned. Siwuya looked at the suspended Princess Yongning. Yongning's face was calm. She was not flustered, and she even had a warm smile as she looked at Siwuya standing on the flying chariot. A satisfied smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. This was enough. Yongning raised her right hand slightly, and a sword of forceful energy appeared in her palm. Please continue with your plan. Yongning grasped the sword of forceful energy and thrust it fiercely toward her own chest. Yongning, Siwuya flew towards Princess Yongning abruptly. His eyes reflected the image of the rising sword energy, as if something had touched his heart. Star-crossed lovers. Mr. Seventh of the Evil Sky Pavilion is nothing more than this. Within the mobile witchcraft formation, Haluo forcibly elevated his Wolf King avatar to 8-leaf. The 8-leaf Wolf King flew towards Siwuya. Mr. Seventh, when Yongning saw Siwuya flying towards her, her expression became uncontrollable, but she still didn't hold back and plunged the sword energy down. Siwuya had always thought of himself as a cold-blooded animal, never to be moved by anything, but when that sword stabbed down, he felt as if it had stabbed into his own heart. Blood scattered, dyeing his clothes. Siwuya frantically sent out countless palm prints, knocking Lu Bing's war chariot away, and caught Yongning in his arms. Unfortunately, a claw of the Wolf King avatar struck him heavily on the back. The clothes on Siwuya's upper body were shredded. He held Princess Yongning tightly and fell like a broken kite towards the distant cluster of buildings. Ha ha ha, I am the biggest winner today. The formation dispersed. The witchcraft cultivators couldn't maintain the 8-leaf avatar for too long. The battle was decided. All that was left was to slowly clean up. Hua Chongyang ultimately could not hold out and was sent flying by the combined force of the 6 generals. Is everything settled? In the ruins, Siwuya supported Princess Yongning with one arm, speechless for a moment. His face was pale. He remained in that supportive posture. A moment later, he could no longer control the churning blood and chi in his body, bent over and spat out blood. Just as Yongning was about to fall, Siwuya struggled to get up, supported her again, and looked up at the battle situation. Did all the plans fail, ultimately because of his own willfulness? The more than 1,000 disciples of the underworld sect were instantly surrounded by Lu Bing's forces and the Lulan and Gentle Edge people. Why? Siwuya shook his head, his face ashen. He didn't know, and he didn't want to answer. He only knew that right now. His heart felt as if it were blocked by a giant stone, incredibly uncomfortable. In the sky, the giant chariot was shattered. Quickly retreat. We can't escape. Without the flying chariot, how could they escape? In that instant, Siwuya felt that he had let everyone down. The 4 great protectors, the brothers of the underworld sect, and Yongning, who was willing to die for him. At this moment, he was at a loss. Yongning's blood stained his arm, making it completely impossible for him to focus his mind and think of a counter strategy. He was not only in pain but also very agitated, yet he had to remain calm. What to do? Was he really going to watch everyone die? Mossmaster, traitorous disciple. This was one of the most legendary figures of the Evil Sky Pavilion. To be able to greet him from such a close distance was, he thought, a wonderful and exciting thing. But what was with that master from Siwuya? Is this your choice? Siwuya pushed with one palm, sending Princess Yongning towards Little Yuaner. Little Yuaner supported Yongning and carefully moved to the side. Siwuya wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and kowtowed respectfully to Lu Zhou. I beg you, master, to help this disciple out of this predicament. There it was, that familiar air, that divine bearing. staggering. The old man he revered and feared was right before his eyes. This was the patriarch of the evil Sky Pavilion, the #1 on the blacklist, the master of the 9 great disciples. Ji Tiandao. Shin Liangshou collapsed. He suddenly remembered that this little girl seemed to have told him to kneel before her master at the Shin family manor. She hadn't been lying. What has this to do with me? Isn't the current situation all your own doing? Having come to this end, on what grounds do you expect me to clean up your mess? The underworld sect's giant chariot, under the attack of the Wolf King Avatar, crashed to the ground, toppling rows of buildings. The Wolf King Avatar lost a leaf but still possessed the might of a 7-leaf. After being injured, the 4 great protectors were in constant retreat, and the underworld sect suffered casualties. Lu Bing did not move. The 6 generals hovered in the air, not continuing their attack. The tide of battle could change just like that. One could never let down their guard against the enemy, especially foreigners. How could Haluo pass up such a golden opportunity? Fourth Highness, what are you standing there for? As long as the 4 great protectors of the underworld sect are not eliminated, can you be at ease? This ecstatic Haluo could almost be predicted to turn on him after dealing with the underworld sect. However, Lu Bing had no choice but to continue the siege on the 4 great protectors. Li Jini, you are a subordinate of Wei Zhuoyan. General Xiang was ambushed. What are you still standing there for? Block them. Li Jini was stunned. From beginning to end, she had not made a move. She had been hiding in a place no one noticed, but in the end, she was still seen by the 4th Highness. 3 avatars flew towards Siwuya, and at the same time, several palm prints descended from above with a wide area of attack. Siwuya quickly got up and sent out powerful forceful energy with both palms. Several palm prints shook horizontally, and the surrounding buildings collapsed with a roar. All eyes turned towards them. That old man, why does he look so familiar? The 4 great protectors were also somewhat bewildered. Who is that? Lu Bing's breath hitched. His entire heart felt as if it had been struck by a heavy hammer. Why was he here? Xiang Lai had lived deep in the divine capital for a long time. How could he have ever seen Ji Tiandao? He just looked strangely at the old man in front of Siwuya. Who could make him kneel? No matter who it is, kill them all. The distant Lulan and Gentle Edge people charged towards Siwuya like a pack of wild wolves. In this situation, it was unlikely he could distance himself from it. As long as Master is willing to act, this disciple is willing to return to the evil Sky Pavilion and submit to any punishment. Do not disappoint me. He flipped his palm, and the peacock feather appeared in it, with a faint starlight shimmering on it. The peacock feather floated towards Siwuya. Siwuya looked at the peacock feather, overjoyed, a smile unconsciously forming at the corner of his mouth. He tapped his toes, grabbed the peacock feather, and flew into the air. What is that in his hand? Then, Siwuya threw the peacock feather in his hand into the air. The peacock feather spun rapidly, buzzing. It then split in 2, forming a huge fan-like shape. Golden forceful energy enveloped the peacock feather, and the peacock feather, one on the left and one on the right, landed on Siwuya's back. Lu Zhou looked up slightly. A peacock spreading its tail. They felt the surrounding primal energy being instantly drained away by the peacock feather. The characteristic of the peacock feather was to absorb primal energy and form the wings of a peacock. It was as beautiful and magnificent as a peacock spreading its tail. Just as you were mesmerized by this stunning creature, it has already taken your life. Siwuya flew forward horizontally, his face expressionless. The huge wings began to rampage, and with each movement, countless needles of forceful energy shot out. Bang, bang, bang. The Gentle Edge and Lulan people were startled by Siwuya's sudden move. By the time they wanted to turn and flee, it was too late. The sky full of forceful energy needles came at them like a torrential storm, piercing through their chests. One by one, the Gentle Edge people fell to the ground. Mr. 7th, a peacock spreading its tail. I haven't seen it for a long time. The last time it was used, I remember, was in the Battle of Mount Tranquility. Mr. 7th and the sect master worked together to establish the foundation of the underworld sect. I never thought that after so many years, I would see it again. The other 3 protectors all looked up at the sky. Siwuya's huge wings, splendid and dazzling, mercilessly swept through the crowd of foreigners and Lu Bing's forces. Retreat quickly, Lu Bing ordered frantically. He didn't have time to explain to his subordinates. Even the 6 generals were thrown into a panic by this scene and retreated one after another. Haluo couldn't quite believe it. His eyes widened, and his anger and hatred were completely ignited, his eyes turning bloodshot. You will die. Haluo roared to the sky, and the Wolf King Avatar, stepping on the 7-leaf golden lotus, swooped down from high above, rushing towards Siwuya like a shooting star. The wings on Siwuya's back closed forward, and dense needles of forceful energy shot towards the Wolf King Avatar. A 6-leaf is still just a 6-leaf. Haluo flew into the center of the Wolf King Avatar, man and avatar becoming one. The avatar seemed to develop transparent, shimmering golden meridians. All the forceful energy needles were blocked and sent back. This is a great opportunity to take down the underworld sect and the foreigners in one fell swoop. Lu Bing slapped the great general across the face, leaving him stunned and bewildered. Find a chance to escape. Escape? Why on earth would we escape? The other generals were also confused. From their perspective, this was a perfect opportunity to reap the benefits. Just then, Haluo, with his Wolf King Avatar, swooped down on Siwuya again. Siwuya's brows furrowed, his wings closed, and he retreated rapidly. Mr. 7, 7th. I am the strongest. On the ruins that had been leveled, a light blue arrow of forceful energy shot from a distance, like a shooting star crossing from the right side of the sky to the left. Whoosh! Then, the arrow of forceful energy hit the Wolf King's forehead. It pierced through the entire avatar. The Wolf King avatar immediately shattered into pieces. Haluo looked at the area behind Siwuya with a face full of disbelief. Everyone was stunned. My disciple is not someone the likes of you can bully. It was him, no mistake. Lu Bing felt his breathing become very difficult and could only keep swallowing. If he had the speed of lightning, he would choose to leave without hesitation. After seeing this arrow, that thought was also extinguished. Clutching his chest, Haluo could no longer control his body and fell straight down. The old man before him was the idol of his heart. What top of the whitelist, what Xian Lai, what prince, all were reduced to mere foils. Greetings, old senior. Everyone, as if they had found their backbone, was more excited than when they saw the sect master. Li Jini put away her paper umbrella and held it in her arms. Greetings, old senior. Gan Hong, the second in command of the Azure Dragon Hall, looked up at the sky uncomfortably. There was nothing but embarrassment. Like Shin Liangshou, his heart was filled with 100 different flavors, complex and indescribable. The remaining 700 to 800 disciples of the underworld sect, however, were filled with surging emotions and said in unison, Greetings, old senior. These three words were grander, more intimate, and louder than the others, filled with excitement. After all, this old man was also the sect master's master. In his presence, every disciple of the underworld sect could be considered a grand disciple. Siwuya spread his wings and stared blankly at Haluo on the ground. He once again launched a barrage of forceful energy needles, making sure he was thoroughly dead. He couldn't help but be surprised in his heart. Since when did his master master such a profound archery skill? Lu Zhou glanced around. His eyes fell on the trembling foreigners in front of him. Kill them! The remaining hundreds of gentle edge people and witchcraft cultivators wanted to fly away and escape, but unfortunately, Siwuya swooped down horizontally, his pair of huge, shimmering golden wings, a peacock spreading its tail, slashed across the bodies and chests of the gentle edge people. Lu Bing, you colluded with foreigners. Aren't you afraid Emperor Yongqing will have your head? Lu Bing was incoherent, so anxious he was about to cry. At that moment, the four generals standing in front simultaneously faced Lu Zhou. Old senior, we are willing to plead for His Highness's crime. The four of them moved forward together, respectfully. Plead for a crime? Old senior, His Highness has guarded the border for many years. Even if he has no merits, he has worked hard. His Highness's actions were all out of necessity. Among the common people of this land, who does not speak well of His Highness? His Highness acts on imperial orders. In many matters, he is not his own master. The four stepped forward. Lu Bing frowned. What is this? Generals, please forgive this subordinate for being unable to comply. I have an imperial edict. The four avatars condensed together, their energies overlapping, and the resonating sound was ear-piercing. Old senior, everyone exclaimed. The shimmering golden avatar, originally just transparent energy, at this moment formed an almost substantial golden light avatar. The four avatars, fighting with their lives on the line, gathered together. At the critical moment, Lu Zhou crushed the impenetrable. With Lu Zhou as the center, a shimmering golden Buddha body swelled up. For consecutive impact sounds, the four avatars crashed into the Buddha body. The four avatars shattered, and they were simultaneously sent flying backward, spitting blood into the sky. You're crazy. What on earth are you doing? They were His Majesty's men all along. This sentence jolted him awake. They were His Majesty's men all along. His confidants were only these two by his side. The others had mostly died in battle on the distant western frontier. These people were merely obeying his supreme father, the Emperor. But what shocked him even more was that the four avatars, in such a close-range surprise attack, were completely unable to harm Lu Zhou. Too strong. These four were fighting with their lives on the line. Even if Hua Chongyang, Bai Yuqing, Yang Yan, and Di Qing cooperated, they might not be able to launch such an astonishing attack. Even so, it still couldn't shake the 10-meter-tall golden Buddha body. Too tough. Lu Zhou's brows furrowed slightly, a hint of anger in his expression. Is the old senior contemplating how to defend? Truly my idol, so tough even at this age. Now, how to kill these four? Unless he used a peak experience card, but in the current situation, it would be a waste. Using lethal strike would be too much of a loss. Letting Hua Chongyang and the others handle it would not earn him any merit points. It was really a dilemma. How to get this wave of merit points? So annoying. Good chance. Xiang Lai stamped his feet fiercely on the ground. The area within 100 meters trembled, and his whole body shot upwards like a cannonball. He held his palms together and raised them straight up. His left index finger and right index finger were aligned forward, with a string of characters hanging between them. Abandon sageliness and discard wisdom. Abandon all thoughts, all distractions, all fancy things, and go all out. Lu Zhou looked down, rotated his single palm 180 degrees, and pressed down. A blue lotus grew under his feet, and a blue light emerged from between his fingers. Coming from no beginning, within all existences, transmigrating through reincarnation, receiving life, all is completely known. Abandon sageliness and discard wisdom. A huge palm print descended. Impossible. Just as Xiang Lai arrived, his two index fingers were pressed down by the huge abandon sageliness and discard wisdom palm print, as if pressing on tofu. The celestial master's sex abandoned sageliness and discard wisdom palm print slammed onto the ground, and the huge, five-fingered handprint-like deep hit stunned everyone. After sweeping away all the foreigners, Siwuya flipped in the air and saw his master's two consecutive moves, a golden Buddha body, and one move of abandoned sageliness and discard wisdom. He suddenly remembered when he was gathering intelligence, a brother from the dark net had seen a 10-meter-tall golden Buddha body at the Runan sacred ground. At that time, he didn't quite believe it, as only the top monks of Buddhism could cultivate the golden Buddha body to a height of 10 meters. Now, seeing it with his own eyes, it was all real. He didn't know if his choice was right, but since it had come to this, he could only press on, even if it meant repeating his mistakes. The surroundings were extremely quiet. Shen Liangshu sat paralyzed on the ground, staring intently at Lu Zhou in the sky, and couldn't help but start clapping. The disciples of the underworld sect took a deep breath. Li Jini retreated a few more steps. Everyone looked at the deep pit that looked like 5 fingers, unable to calm down for a long time. Xianglai was a successor of the Celestial Masters sect. He had made a name for himself in the cultivation world in his early years, deeply grasping the essence of the Celestial Masters sect's divine spells and talisman arts. He was a rare talent in the Taoist school and a top-tier expert in the cultivation world. This move, abandon sageliness and discard wisdom, was also his signature killing move. He probably never imagined, even in death, that he would be defeated by his own signature move, completely crushed. Lu Zhou looked indifferently at the 4 generals who had ambushed him. Their chi and blood were churning, and their eyes were filled with horror and shock. After being repelled by the golden Buddha body, they each suffered minor injuries. Sensing the extraordinary power of the heavenly writing, that arrow had used 1/3 of it. Along with the nameless sword, he had killed the 6-leaf expert of the gentle edge people, Haluo. One move of abandon sageliness and discard wisdom had consumed 1/3 of the heavenly writing's extraordinary power. The effects and power of close range and long range were indeed different. Although this extraordinary power of the heavenly writing was useful, it just didn't last long. When could its endurance be increased? That would be great. How to deal with the remaining 4 generals? Lu Zhou just looked at the 4 of them, making them afraid to move. If there was really no other way, he would have to waste merit points and use lethal strike. They've all gone mad. Lu Bing actually started to laugh, and as he laughed, tears appeared in the corners of his eyes. After so many years guarding the border, there had never been anything as laughable as today. As a prince of a generation, guarding the border for years, even if he had no merits, he had worked hard. How many foreigners had he held back? How much suffering had he endured? Logically, his father, the emperor, should trust and value him the most. Yet his father had sent these 4 generals to control his every move. How could he not want to laugh? We had no choice. At Yongqing's behest, bearing a mission, even if it means death, we must try. People with battlefield experience were indeed different from ordinary cultivators. Once they had decided on something, they would not easily change their minds. They would not rest until they achieved their goal. Even Xianglai could not withstand a single move from me. Are you worthy to fight me? Siwuya spread his arms. The wings on his back scattered, and the 2 parts of the peacock feather merged back into one, returning to his palm. You wanna die? I can grant your wish. Hope had become extremely slim. Siwuya was much more formidable than imagined. He was clearly only a 6-leaf, so how did he manage to knock down Xianglai? The 4 great protectors were already seriously injured, so it was unlikely they could continue to fight unless they were willing to fight to the death. But that didn't seem worth it. Only Siwuya could still fight. A direct confrontation was a dead end. There was no turning back. The moment they attacked Lu Zhou, there was no longer a way back. I don't believe this. After using so many amazing moves, how much primal energy can this old man possibly have left? Yongqing, oh Yongqing, what means do you have to make them so willing? This was truly the spirit of a death warrior, able to face death on the battlefield, firm and persistent, used in the wrong place. I do not wish to be an enemy of the evil Sky Pavilion. Take them. The 2 generals were stunned for a moment, then said in a deep voice, yes. Siwuya appeared before the 4 of them and threw out the peacock feather. The peacock feather spun rapidly, and streaks of forceful energy needles shot out. The 4 generals immediately erupted with dense palm prints and forceful energy, sweeping across the entire sky. Damn it, retreat. What's wrong? Demonic primal secret medicine. Hearing the words demonic primal secret medicine, everyone's expression changed. The 4 great protectors immediately led the disciples of the underworld sect to retreat rapidly. The primal energy above the entire Liang State City began to surge. The effect of the demonic primal secret medicine was to overdraft one's potential and forcibly absorb the primal energy of heaven and earth. This would create a primal energy vacuum in the area, thus forming a primal energy storm. Only cultivators with sufficient cultivation could withstand such a storm. Back then, Yi Tianxin had also mistakenly believed that her master had taken this secret medicine to maintain his peak state. Now, the 4 death warriors under Emperor Yongqing actually possessed this medicine. What could this mean? This medicine was initially banned by the laws of the Great Flame. Now that the 4 death warriors of Emperor Yongqing possessed it, what was the meaning of this? The primal energy in the sky surged violently. Little Yuaner also looked at the sky in surprise. Shen Liangshu crawled backward. He had now lost all his cultivation and could only rely on this girl. When Lu Zhou saw the 4 4 generals erupt with their energy center's primal energy, he was also somewhat surprised. He was only at the peak of the Divine Court realm. He could withstand the storm, but if they were to attack, he would have to use item cards. With a heaven-grade weapon, Siwuya alone could hold off one injured 6-leaf without a problem. Lu Bing's 2 subordinates could hold off 2. Where was the last one? The person erupting with golden forceful energy suddenly shot up into the sky and then swooped down rapidly, attacking Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou raised a single palm, and Nameless appeared in his palm. Nameless suddenly changed shape, becoming a shield. Forceful energy swirled up, and the erupting primal energy crashed against the shield. You've become weaker. He felt that the old man before him had become extremely weak, like an ant crawling on the ground that could be crushed with a single stomp. You old man, you have no primal energy left. He unleashed his avatar. The moment he unleashed his avatar, a blue lotus reappeared under Lu Zhou's feet, and his body glowed with a faint blue light, as if outlined. With a flip of his hand, the shield turned into the Nameless sword. A single horizontal slash. The avatar was cut open. A capturing hand seal. He suddenly discovered that the old man before him was like a demon god from an endless abyss, completely unshakable. The illusion of weakness that had just appeared had completely paralyzed his thinking and judgment. The avatar was forcefully crushed by this aged, large hand. The surrounding primal energy storm also seemed to be simultaneously cut off, ceasing its rotation. Demonic primal secret medicine. One only needs to break his energy center and energy sea, and the secret medicine will be useless. As for the avatar, just cut it open with a sword. Lu Zhou's eyes both glowed with blue light as he stared intently at the person before him. The general's eyes were filled with fear. Awe-inspiring forceful energy. I will destroy the forceful energy with my bare hands. 5 fingers glowing with blue light immediately closed. The general's head tilted, and his neck snapped. The faint blue light on Lu Zhou's body disappeared. Extraordinary power. What limit was there? What cultivation decline? Old Senior G, your style is as magnificent as ever. You haven't lost your touch. Lu Zhou stood suspended in the air with his hands behind his back, watching the battle ahead. Lu Bing's subordinates were acting normally, fighting with increasing valor, as they had not been injured before. On the other hand, Siwuya had been previously injured by the Wolf King avatar and was getting weaker. Lu Zhou had used up all his extraordinary power. If he wanted to help, he only had item cards, but they might not be of use. Li Genie was startled and bowed from a distance. Old Senior, do you enjoy watching the show? Old Senior, please listen to my explanation. This junior accompanied Xiang Lai to Lian State with the actual intention of monitoring his movements. If Xiang Lai had acted personally, the 4 great protectors would have long been dead. Jiang Aijin's idea? Li Genie gave an awkward smile and just nodded. This kind of trash is not worthy of the old senior's attention. She raised the paper umbrella in her hand, leaped into the air, and, as fast as lightning, arrived above the battle area. The paper umbrella spun, forming a huge umbrella-shaped aura of forceful energy with the paper umbrella as its center, covering the area below. Penglai sect. Bluebird. Truly, nothing can be hidden from the old senior. The 7-leaf avatar bloomed once more. The nearly 8 to 9 meter tall 7-leaf avatar, combined with the weapon Bluebird, attacked in all directions. The 3 generals were sent flying backward, spitting blood into the sky. Thank you for your help. Siwuya leaped up, and the wings on his body released a dense barrage of forceful energy needles, piercing towards the energy center and energy sea of the 3 men. The Bluebird split into 2, then 4, then 8, obscuring the sky as it attacked the 3 again. The avatars shattered. The 3 fell onto the ruins of Lian State City. Even with the demonic primal secret medicine, it was impossible to defeat the 4 with their absolute power. Everything fell silent. The turbulent primal energy storm above the entire city of Lian State also quickly subsided as primal energy from outside the city flowed in. Out of 3 people, Siwuya only managed to get 1 kill. It was barely acceptable. Lu Bing, however, was extremely distressed, his expression appearing somewhat. Siwuya put away the peacock feather and flew off into the distance. 7th senior brother, she's not dead. It's a good thing I was protecting her, otherwise she would have died. Although these were well-intentioned words, they sounded like a curse. Thank you, junior sister. Siwuya took Lu Wenjun and shook his head slightly. In the sky, Lu Zhou stepped forward, stroking his beard as he looked at Lu Bing. You are not suited to stay in the divine capital. Guarding the border is your mission. Lu Bing was slightly taken aback. He had spent his entire life guarding the border. Was it for fame and fortune? He had only returned to the divine capital once and had almost lost himself, even colluding with foreigners. A single wrong thought could have made him an eternally infamous sinner, almost turning him into a sinner who would even use his own sister. He didn't know when he had become the kind of person he once hated the most. His opponent should never have been the Great Flame, never the people of the Great Flame. Does your highness wish to return to the divine capital to report? Report? Report what? Go and see that heartless person who can use even his own son with such indifference. Then, where shall we go? This subordinate vows to follow your highness to the death, no matter where. I want to go to the frontier, to see the roads I once walked, irrigated with the blood of my brothers, paved with their countless bones. If you are not willing, then go your own separate ways. This subordinate vows to follow your highness to the death. Write a letter back, saying that the 4th prince, Lu Bing, died in battle in Lian State. Speaking of which, Lu Bing can be considered considered a hero. The divine capital really isn't suitable for him. In this place, there are too many things beyond one's control. A single misstep can lead to eternal damnation. Are you worthy of saying that? Shin Liangshu was overcome with shame and fell silent. Si Wuya had no time to concern himself with Lu Bing's situation. Instead, he was constantly observing Lu Wenjun's condition. Lu Zhou slowly descended, stood before Si Wuya with his hands behind his back, extended his hand, and silently looked at Si Wuya. Si Wuya took out the peacock feather and, with a gentle wave, it landed in his master's palm. Si Wuya was a deep thinker. In his hands, this weapon was too powerful. Just then, the people from the underworld sect also arrived. If Wei Zhuoyan weren't dead and knew you were Jian Aijian's informant, I wonder what he would think. Li Jini was slightly taken aback. This statement indicated that Si Wuya knew the current Wei Zhuoyan was a fake and also knew about her relationship with Jian Aijian. Mr. Seventh is joking. Is Wei Zhuoyan still in Liang State? In the Battle of Liang State City, strictly speaking, the Fourth Highness was defeated. Deserted City originally had a great formation for defense, but now with no one to command it, the underworld sect should be able to quickly occupy the 10 cities of Liang State. General Wei's forces have long been marginalized. That is why the divine capital sent Xian Lai to personally suppress the situation. Hua Chongyang's heart skipped a beat. Old senior, where's Yu Zhenghai now? The sect master ordered the four of us to protect Mr. Seventh. We do not know where the sect master is now. Unfilial, traitorous disciple. Hua Chongyang and the other three protectors were influential figures who had followed sect master Yu for many years, commanding hundreds of thousands of followers and holding high positions. In all these years, they had never seen anyone dare to reprimand the sect master like this. The old senior's scolding, however, left them completely unable to be angry. They even felt it was entirely justified, very reasonable, extremely reasonable, thinking that after learning a little something from me, he could take the divine capital, overestimating himself. After speaking, Lu Zhou flicked his sleeve, put his hands behind his back, and waved to Little Yuaner back to the evil sky pavilion. Little Yuaner nodded. Si Wuya picked up Lu Wenjun and was about to get up when the four great protectors knelt on one knee simultaneously. Mr. Seventh, following them, all the other members of the underworld sect knelt on the ground. A truly spectacular scene. Go back and tell senior brother that this matter is my fault. If there is a chance in the future, I will personally apologize to him. Mr. Seventh, I promised the sect master that I would ensure your safety. I have already decided to return to the evil sky pavilion. But without Mr. Seventh, how will the underworld sect move forward? Mr. Seventh's contribution to the underworld sect reaching its current state was undeniable. Over the past few months, Si Wuya had used his intelligence network to lay out detailed plans, making the underworld sect the #1 demonic sect with hundreds of thousands of followers, and giving it the strength to contend with the divine capital. It could be said that Si Wuya had become the de facto second-in-command of the underworld sect. Insolence. Little Yuaner pointed at the four great protectors. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're all so stupid. My master can take whomever he wants. Does he need to explain it to you? Be careful, or I'll smash your heads in. It sounded terrifying, but it made a lot of sense. Mr. Ninth is right. The old sir wants to take someone away, and you want to stop him? Can Mr. Seventh decide? If you don't want to live, I will grant your wish. Everyone shivered in fear, quickly got up, turned, and ran. This junior was wrong. The others dared not say another word, following behind Hua Chongyang, running away in a disheveled state. Dust flew, and in a flash, they disappeared at the end of the ruins. At that moment, the imposing body of the Bayan appeared in midair and slowly landed on the ground. Shin Liangshu was startled and retreated repeatedly, so the old senior was not going to punish Hua Chongyang, but was calling his mount. Old senior, if there's nothing else, I performed alright, didn't I? I crippled your cultivation. Are you not angry? Not angry at all. I deserved it. Besides, I have the black magnolia. I don't have the black magnolia. Heaven and earth are not benevolent. They treat all things as straw dogs. Empty yet unyielding. The more they move, the more they produce. You should reflect carefully on what you should and should not do. He rode the Bayan and walked through the air. Little Yuaner and Si Wuya did the same, flying through the air, following closely behind. Shin Liangshu stood frozen in place, his mind recalling the many deeds of the evil sky pavilion. Compared to the evil sky pavilion, what were their actions, and what were his? Meanwhile, in the fragrant grass tomb, Yu Shangrong mobilized his primal energy, constantly adjusting his energy center and energy sea. After this period of regulating his breath and meditating, the turmoil of his primal energy finally completely subsided. The feeling of being able to continue living was very wonderful, just like watching the sunset from the mountain peak that day. A good night's sleep, and the next day, the sun would rise as usual. Having cut off the golden lotus, he just needed to recondense it. All the energy would gather at his feet. Based on past experience, this energy should be enough to condense the golden lotus, but no matter how he mobilized his primal energy, he could not condense the golden lotus. Circles of energy flowed down his feet, as if rushing into the sea. Open again! As this sound rang out, streaks of golden light sank down, and a strong resonating sound appeared. A faint smile crossed Yu Shanrong's expression. A leaf had appeared. Yu Shanrong suddenly felt his heartbeat accelerate. He held his breath and carefully looked at the golden lotus beneath his feet. Regrowing a leaf leaf was simple, yet as difficult as ascending to heaven. It was simple because he had a wealth of experience in growing leaves and didn't need to take detours like a novice. The difficulty lay in the fact that he was injured from cutting the golden lotus and was also facing the situation of recondensing the golden lotus for the first time. Does the golden lotus come first, or the leaf? Without roots, where do the leaves come from? The avatar trembled continuously, and the resonating sound became more and more obvious. Beneath his feet, that single leaf became increasingly distinct, until the entire leaf appeared completely before his eyes. The first leaf was formed. In other words, Yu Shangrong's cultivation had re-entered the one-leaf stage of the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Following that, the golden lotus continued to tremble, and the ring of light continuously moved downward. According to his expectations, the golden lotus should have appeared as well. Unfortunately, when he felt that his primal energy was almost depleted, the golden lotus still had not appeared. Maintaining the form of the avatar was extremely draining of primal energy, not to mention he was injured. Only a single leaf remained, constantly revolving around the avatar. No golden lotus. This shattered Yu Shangrong's understanding. Even though he was an 8-leaf expert who looked down upon the world, the sword demon whom everyone spoke of with fear, he could not understand the scene before him. An avatar without a golden lotus. He closed his eyes, sat cross-legged, and began to absorb primal energy again. A day later, a portion of his primal energy was restored, and his mental state had also improved. He once again summoned his avatar. Beneath the avatar, apart from a single leaf, there was still no golden lotus. Yu Shangrong gathered all his primal energy, converging it towards his feet, and continuously charged, until his primal energy was about to be depleted, and the avatar dissipated. The spot where he was sitting cross-legged suddenly collapsed. Yu Shangrong fell down. Fragrant grass? Below. It was all fragrant grass. A grid-like cover suddenly appeared above his head, sealing the top. Millennium Cold Iron? The longevity sword. The longevity sword, lying flat on the ground above, trembled slightly. His ability to control objects from a distance was greatly reduced. He came to the top of the cover, reached up with his palm, and a golden light appeared in his palm. The cover was engraved with streaks of formation patterns. Weakening formation patterns? A design of exquisite craftsmanship, a brilliant concept. The people of the gentleman country might have survived by relying on such tools. Those things he considered very weak were not worth mentioning, but this cover was unexpected. Yu Shangrong sighed softly. Based on his earlier perception, he would need a stronger cultivation to be able to control the longevity sword and bring it to his hand. It was almost impossible now. This was a trap similar to a well, more like a place of refuge. After observing for a moment, Yu Shangrong closed his eyes and sat cross-legged in meditation. Since he had the mentality of starting over, he couldn't be too ambitious. He had grown a leaf, but it was fine to do without it. Evil Sky Pavilion. After a day and a night of flying, Siwuya and Little Yuan finally arrived at the Evil Sky Pavilion on Golden Court Mountain. Who is that? Another newcomer. Learn from a mistake and grow wiser. To be brought back with such fanfare by the old senior, it must be Mr. Seventh. Mr. Seventh is so refined, you don't understand. I've heard that Mr. Seventh is extremely intelligent, with an intelligence network spanning the entire Great Flame. As long as he doesn't want to be caught, who can catch him? Makes sense. The 9 disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion cannot be judged by their appearance. The two of them deeply agreed. Let's go. Pay respects to the Pavilion Lord. Pay respects to Mr. Ninth. Having already become familiar with the previous routine, there was naturally no need to pay respects to this Mr. Seventh. He was just a traitor. At the very least, they couldn't pay respects in front of the Pavilion Lord. Has there been any movement in the Evil Sky Pavilion these past few days? Reporting to the Pavilion Lord, everything has been normal in the Evil Sky Pavilion these past few days. With Mr. Third overseeing daily affairs, everything is running smoothly. It's those so-called righteous sects that are spreading rumors about the Evil Sky Pavilion everywhere. Rumors? It's still about the news of Mr. Second's death and the massive withering of the Golden Court Mountain foothills. The outside world is saying that your great limit is approaching. As expected, sometimes I wonder, how many times do these so-called righteous sects in the world need to be slapped in the face before they wake up? What great limit? Do I look like someone who would die so early? Thinking about these things now was useless. Lu Zhou glanced at the silent Siwuya and the Princess Yongning. Lu Wenjun, he was holding. Take the princess to the South Pavilion to recuperate. Your disciple obeys. As for you, Lu Zhou's gaze fell upon Siwuya. Go to the reflection cave and reflect for 7 days first. Thank you, master. Although he called him master so sweetly, Lu Zhou could not sense any sincerity in his attitude. The reason he said it for 7 days was because he wanted to fully accumulate the extraordinary power of the heavenly writing within those 7 days. Without the extraordinary power as a trump card, he always felt like something was missing. Greetings, Mr. Seventh. Siwuya's gaze swept over the two of them without acknowledging them, and he walked towards the reflection cave. Mr. Seventh, would you like me to prepare a set of clothes for you? Mr. Seventh, you are more handsome than I imagined. The person before them must be the 7th disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion. He was too familiar with the environment and routes between the East, South, West, and North Pavilions, reaching the back mountain with ease. Siwuya stopped and said, the great disciple of the Heaven Sword sect, Zhou Jifeng, the traitor of the Clarity sect, Pan Panjong and Zhou Jifeng were taken aback. How is everyone doing recently? This was the demeanor Mr. Seventh should have. Look, listen, see, what a magnanimous Mr. Seventh. He doesn't speak unless he has to, and when he does, he asks about everyone's well-being. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Seventh. I am very well. I particularly like this place, the Evil Sky Pavilion. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Seventh. I am also very well. This place is not only good, but all the misters are so approachable. Siwuya's expression remained unchanged as he sized up the two of them. He was not angry, nor did he scold them for their irrelevant answers. Instead, he said, "That's good, Mr. Seventh. It's cold in the cave. Shall I get you a blanket?" Duan Musheng, holding the Overlord spear, looked over here with a stern expression. Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng, seeing his unfriendly face, were a little worried. "Mr. Third, please calm your anger. Please don't hold it against Mr. Seventh, you bastard. Greetings, Third Senior Brother. It's over. Another lesson learned." "What, Mr. Third? Please calm your anger. Old Seventh, is this how you talk to me?" A senior brother reprimanding a junior brother. There was nothing wrong with that. "Greetings, Third Senior Brother. You still have the face to come back? After all these years stirring up trouble outside, now you've come back to the Evil Sky Pavilion with your tail between your legs, haven't you? Think you're so smart?" Third Senior Brother's reprimand is correct. "Don't think that just because you talk to me like this, I will let you off. I was injured in the Battle of Liang State City." Third Senior Brother is brave and heroic, not the kind of petty person who takes advantage of others' misfortune. Not necessarily. Old Fourth was right. When dealing with despicable people, you can't talk about fairness. Master also warned us. Where in the world is there such a thing as fairness? Let me see how much skill you, this traitor, have gained. The Overlord's spear thrust forward, its cold gleam arriving first, followed by the spear striking like a dragon. For a moment, the two of them were engaged in battle. "I really fell for your nonsense. Get lost. Who is more powerful, Mr. Third or Mr. Seventh? I guess it's Mr. Seventh. Think about it. He can turn the entire cultivation world upside down, and the 9 states of the Great Flame are in chaos. You can't judge a book by its cover. Besides, I heard from Mr. Eighth that no one has ever been able to force Mr. Seventh to use his full strength. That powerful? Just you watch. Heaven's favor has flaws." Dense spear shadows continuously stabbed towards Siwuya. Siwuya unleashed several streams of forceful energy in front of him. Unexpectedly, the spear shadows instantly shattered the forceful energy and went straight for Siwuya's face. Siwuya flipped in the air, staggered backward, his arms numb from the shock, and his face pale. "Is that all the skill you have? Third Senior Brother's cultivation is exquisite. I am truly impressed. If I believe you one more time, I'll wash my hair standing on my head." Duan Musheng raised the Overlord spear, spun it, and rested it on his shoulder, saying, "Go into the reflection cave yourself. Do you need me to invite you?" Siwuya nodded. Without resisting or saying anything more, he entered the reflection cave. Mr. Third's spear technique has finally improved. Finally improved? You mean I didn't improve before? And you don't need to eat for the next few days. Spar with me. At dusk, Lu Zhou opened his eyes. After half a day of comprehending the heavenly writing, his mental state had recovered somewhat, but he was still far from being saturated with extraordinary power. He opened the system interface and pondered the information on it. The operation in Liang State, overall, had been quite profitable, especially since Siwuya had swept away nearly 2,000 foreigners. He was just one step away from entering the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Only by entering the nascent divinity tribulation realm could one be considered to have stepped through the threshold of this cultivation world. Summon Siwuya. Before long, Siwuya, led by a female disciple from the derived Moon Palace, left the back mountain and headed towards the East Pavilion. "Where's your palace master now, Mr. Seventh?" "In the Evil Sky Pavilion. There is no palace master, nor is there a derived Moon Palace. Mr. Sixth was expelled from the sect by the Pavilion Lord long ago, and her whereabouts are unknown. The most recent news was that she killed the 5 rats of Upper Prime and sent back the precious Zen robe. Since then, there has been no word of her, no news of her whereabouts." He thought of the previous intelligence, which was mostly from outside the Evil Sky Pavilion. He had intended to ask about the specific situation in the Evil Sky Pavilion during this period, but before he knew it, he had arrived outside the East Pavilion. This subordinate takes his leave. Time has passed, and it seems as though nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed, it seems, is me. I have grown up, no longer the little boy of yesterday, nor is my master the same as he was then. Disciple pays respects to master. There was no response from within the room. The door was blown open by a gust of forceful energy. Siwuya understood and walked in. Upon entering the room, one could see a spacious and comfortable hall facing the mountain scenery. On the wall hung a piece of calligraphy. "A bright moon rises over the sea. From the furthest shores we share this moment." For some unknown reason, when Siwuya saw this line of poetry, his heart couldn't help but pound. Siwuya was extremely intelligent. He immediately understood the meaning of each word in this line of poetry. "Master, you still have the face to call me master? Why did you leave the Evil Sky Pavilion?" Only by leaving the Evil Sky Pavilion can this disciple fully display his talents. Just with that little bit of cleverness of yours, this disciple feels he can do it. You think? Now the 9 states of the Great Flame are in chaos. Just give me a little more time, and the 9 states will fall, and the imperial family will surely be in chaos. Even if the divine capital has the 10 absolute array. It's useless. Besieged by the 9 states, the divine capital will be isolated and helpless. It's only a matter of time. Just one more year. Just one more year. Lu Zhou suddenly struck out with a palm print. Overestimating yourself. When I first met Emperor Yongshou, you were still in your mother's womb. Do you really think Yongqing's means are limited to just the divine capital? With senior brother here, this disciple knows all the weaknesses of those at the 8-leaf level. Whether it's the 8 great commanders or the imperial guards, they cannot leave the divine capital. You know a lot about the imperial family? After this disciple left the evil sky pavilion, he entered the palace and was fortunate enough to become the grand tutor. Not only that, but you also gained Yongming's favor and used her to obtain intelligence from within the palace. This disciple did not use her. Didn't use her? Don't you know in your own heart whether you used her or not? Sometimes, people are like this. The more you argue with them, the more they will vehemently deny it. You already know about Yu Shanrong's matter, so I won't pursue it further. Where's my memory crystal now? This disciple does not know. Could Yu Shanrong be lying? You refuse to say. Lu Zhou's aura pressed down, making Si Wuya feel it was hard to breathe. Please trust my judgment. The crystal was sealed by you personally. Your purpose was so that no one would know, not even yourself. If the crystal were so easy to find, why would you have gone to such lengths to seal it in the first place? I have changed my mind. That was after you lost the crystal. After you get the crystal back and regain your memories, you will surely regret this choice. Besides, you should just stay on the mountain and enjoy your old age in peace. This disciple promises to be filial to you. Are you saying my judgment is flawed? That I'm going to die anyway, so I should just let you all stir up trouble? If you insist on interpreting your disciple's meaning this way, then your disciple can only accept it. Insolence. He felt his own emotions change, a feeling of anger. Was it Ji Tiandao's memory influencing him, or had he successfully merged with Ji Tiandao? I am still me, a different kind of firework. Ji Tiandao was no longer the Ji Tiandao of the past. There was no choice. Standing in this position, he had to follow this path and forge a new direction. Unfilial, traitorous disciple. Si Wuya grunted and spat out a mouthful of blood. A master is a master. Even if you have 1,000 reasons, what kind of twisted logic allows a disciple to curse their master to die soon? He seemed to have gotten used to this, finding it not strange at all, and even felt the blow was a bit light. Even the scolding had become more concise. Thinking of Ming Shirain's and Zhu Honghong's words, his mind started to get muddled, but none of that mattered anymore. Perhaps the commotion was too loud, as many people rushed towards the East Pavilion. Before they could speak, they heard Lu Zhou's deep voice. Whoever dares to plead for him will be punished along with him. This disciple would never plead for him. This disciple suggests he be punished severely. You talk too much. As night fell, the entire East Pavilion also grew dim. Si Wuya looked at his master descending the steps. This old man, whose life was nearing its end, suddenly gave him an illusion, as if he had traveled through time, back to the past. At that time, he was still young and was made to kneel by his master for making a mistake. Just like now, kneeling in the East Pavilion. Time had come full circle, and this scene was replaying itself. You schemed to throw the world into chaos. What is it that you truly want? Since leaving the evil Sky Pavilion, Si Wuya's understanding of his master was only based on intelligence. Even with just this short period of contact, Si Wuya was already certain that his master was very different from before. Senior brother wants this world, so this disciple will help him. Just because Yu Xinghai wants to take it, only if senior brother obtains the world can he take revenge. Only by raising the divine capital. Did Yu Xinghai leave the evil Sky Pavilion merely for revenge? If it was just for revenge, why would he need to take the divine capital? With the current strength of the underworld sect, it wouldn't be impossible for hundreds of thousands of followers to go together and raise Lulan. Lulan governed with witchcraft. In terms of actual military campaigns, they were far inferior to the cultivators of the Great Flame. Do you think I am easily deceived? This disciple would not dare. Every word this disciple says is true. The Battle of Liang State had only made him consider returning to the evil Sky Pavilion. His loyalty remained unchanged. This was the traitorous disciple he had personally taught, each one more stubborn and obstinate than the last. Yu Shanrong won't talk, and neither will you. Yu Shanrong has always been at odds with Yu Xinghai. Who do you think is right and who is wrong? Neither is right. Senior brother's methods are too extreme. He will do anything to achieve his goals. Second, senior brother is too sensitive and ignores the iron laws of our sect. Although their opinions differ, they have one thing in common. Anyone who insults the evil Sky Pavilion will be severely punished. Ming Shireen, disciple is here. Slap him for me. Ming Shireen was taken aback and hesitated. He didn't know why his master would have him slap him. This disciple will slap himself. Do you feel wronged? This disciple would not dare. Anyone who insults the evil Sky Pavilion will be severely punished. The top experts of the 10 great sects besieged me twice in a row. Where were you all? As long as I am not dead for a day, you will not have a day of peace. Is that right? This disciple would not dare. The siege by the 10 great experts was a spur-of-the-moment decision. Afterward, senior brother took action against the righteous sects. At the sacred altar in Runan City, senior sister Zhao Yu was captured, and it was second senior brother who went to the sacred altar and killed many experts. Since you are so loyal to the evil Sky Pavilion, then honestly confess about the crystal and the matters of the divine capital. Si Wuya remained silent. In ancient times, from the Son of Heaven to the common people, one one must have teachers and friends to cultivate one's virtue and career. Having taught a traitorous disciple like you, the one who truly cannot rest in peace is me. Old Seventh, what's wrong with you? Old Seventh, it's come to this. It makes no difference whether you speak or not. You talk about being filial to master, but is this attitude what a disciple should have? This disciple does not know what second senior brother said, but this disciple believes in his own judgment. If one day this disciple's judgment proves to be wrong, this disciple is willing to die to atone for his sins. Ming Shirin suddenly stepped forward and placed a hand on his shoulder. Old Seven, look me in the eye. Can you guarantee that all your judgments will not be wrong? Think carefully. Think it through before you answer. Siwaya was speechless. In this world, even the most intelligent person would not dare to say that his judgment on every matter would not be wrong. He thought of the scene on the Lotus platform, and then of the scene at Heaven's Will Garden. Not only did he think there was a small error, he even felt that all his judgments were wrong. Wrong from the very beginning. Found a way to break through to Nine Leaf? As soon as this question was asked, everyone's eyes focused on the old man, waiting for his answer. This question was too important, even concerning the future direction of the entire cultivation world. I have indeed found the method for Nine Leaf. One stone stirred 1,000 waves. Among those present, except for Ming Shirin, everyone showed a look of shock. Siwaya's originally listless state was as if he had been given a shot of adrenaline, his eyes suddenly widening. How is that possible? Even if I tell you the method, would you dare to cut off the golden lotus? Do you dare cut the golden lotus? This method, up to now, was only a deduction. Lu Zhou hoped someone would dare to try this method. He had a large number of reversal cards and could take the normal path to reach Nine Leaf. He certainly also hoped that his disciples could advance to Nine Leaf. However, cutting the golden lotus was like suicide. Without some courage and bravery, who would dare to do so? And success was not guaranteed. As a transmigrator, Lu Zhou was well aware that the advent of any theory required a large number of guinea pig experiments. The problem was, who was willing to be the guinea pig? Seventh junior brother. Do you dare? Siwaya's eyes widened and his brows furrowed slightly. Cutting the golden lotus? What kind of crazy method was this? How would I know? Ask master. Cutting the golden lotus is a path to advancement, but it may cost you your life. Do not attempt it lightly. Everyone nodded. Are you satisfied with my answer? This disciple would not dare. A teacher is one who imparts knowledge, teaches skills, and resolves doubts. If you have any questions, I will answer them for you. The pavilion lord was broad-minded, truly the model of a master. But for Siwaya, these words sounded like sarcasm, making his heart tremble. How long do you think I can live? Of course, he dared not say it directly. Even if the whole world thought Lu Zhou's time was almost up, he couldn't say such a thing to his master's face. How long do you all think this venerable one can live? Silence. Lu Zhou had wanted to ask this question for a long time. It was too ridiculous. Had people become stupid, or had they grown accustomed to living in decay, afraid to jump out of this confinement? No one dared to answer this question. Take him to the reflection cave, seal his cultivation, and give him 50 strokes of the staff. As you command. Zhu Honghong voluntarily came to Siwaya's side. After all, Zhu Honghong had a good relationship with him, so it was appropriate for him to escort Siwaya. He didn't know why he had to be so stubborn and go against their master. Why bother? What was the point? 3 days ago, the Dark Net received news that the 10 great sects have organized a demon-slaying alliance. After the matter of the second senior brother's death list ended, rumors are flying everywhere, and now the righteous path is rising up. After saying this, he followed Zhu Honghong and left. Ming Shirin frowned upon hearing this. These people are too despicable. We need to teach them a lesson. How to teach them a lesson? Capture them and bring them back? Lu Zhou did not agree with her approach. Beat them up? However, the little girl's killing intent was far less exaggerated than before. You may all leave. This subordinate takes his leave. Disciple takes his leave. Ming Shirin, stay. Ming Shirin stood respectfully and glanced at the shattered wooden door on the floor. This disciple will repair it. I have 2 tasks for you. Master, please give your instructions. This disciple will do his utmost, go through fire and water, and will definitely complete the tasks. The first task is to lead the method of cutting the golden lotus. Ming Shirin was greatly startled. After going through so much trouble to go to the Cloud sect and obtaining the chessboard of the Patriarch of the 3 Cloud, Sky, and Luo sects, they had finally found a path to advance to Nine Leaf. Why would they so easily tell others? Cutting the golden lotus is ultimately a suicidal method. No one has tried it, so there's no need to worry about causing great chaos. After cutting the golden lotus, it's equivalent to starting cultivation over. Leaving aside the injuries, talent will become even more important. With the wisdom of the world, 100 flowers would surely bloom. This was the modern way of thinking. According to the cultivators of the current world, whether it was techniques or cultivation theories, they were all kept secret and not shared. The chessboard of Yintian Luo was something they would rather die than give to others, but this undoubtedly greatly restricted the pace of cultivation. Brainstorming was always much faster than one person working behind closed doors. Besides, Lu Zhou was not planning to take this path. It was said that 100 flowers would bloom, but in reality, it was a new path paved with countless bones. The second matter is to go down the mountain and investigate the alliance plan of the 10 great sects, and report back by flying letter at any time. Your disciple obeys. Meanwhile, in the divine capital, at the Evergreen Palace, this is the list of nascent divinity tribulations Tribulation Realm cultivators who died this month. No need to look, just tell me. In total, 5 nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm cultivators below 3 leaf used the method of binding the Golden Lotus with a divine spell to open a leaf. Today, they were unable to absorb energy and ultimately died from their energy center exploding. A total of 3 5-leaf nascent Divinity cultivators died after using the forced modification of the Golden Lotus method. A total of 1 6-leaf, a 900-year-old cultivator, died after failing to open a leaf by taking a life-extending pill. Give them a grand burial and compensate each family with 10,000 taels of gold and 1,000 acres of fertile land. Your Majesty, what if some refused to accept? How could a cultivator who had reached the nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm care about such worldly possessions? This is the bottom line. You handle it. The chief eunuch respectfully backed out of the study. Lu Yen returned to his desk, picked up a brush, and wrote a few strokes. He applied force with his hand, the ink penetrating the paper, and the brush went through the desk. Clean this up. Half a day later, Your Majesty, a report from Lian State. Tell me, the 10 cities of Lian State have fallen and are all occupied by the underworld sect. General Xian Lai died in battle, and the 4th prince and his 6 generals have all died in battle. Lu Yen frowned. Even when the 2nd prince, Lu Huan, died, he had not frowned like he did today. The chief eunuch, who had served the emperor for many years, knew his temper well. The quieter he was, the more nervous and uncomfortable the eunuch became. He even felt that the air in the study was like poison, as if taking a single breath would cost him his life. Understood. The chief eunuch let out a sigh of relief in his heart. A response was better than no response. Your Majesty, this servant has one more matter to report. There is a rumor in the streets that the cultivation world has found a way to advance to 9-leaf. Lu Yen, who had already turned his back, feeling a bit heavy-chested from the recent events, heard this and his eyes widened. He turned around and said, "What method?" "To swing a blade and cut the Golden Lotus. As long as one survives, one can reopen leaves and advance to 9-leaf. If it were in the past, and someone told them the method of cutting the Golden Lotus, he would have surely cut down the person who said it first. But now, he believed this statement more than anyone. Since ascending the throne, he had neglected state affairs and dedicated himself to the study of the 9-leaf method. With the power of a nation and hundreds of years of continuous investigation, he finally discovered that the Golden Lotus itself was the fundamental reason restricting 8-leaf cultivators from reaching 9-leaf. He tried various methods, binding the Golden Lotus, using divine spells to restrain it, modifying the Golden Lotus, and even for a moment thought of cutting the Golden Lotus, but he quickly dismissed the idea himself. Now there is such a rumor in the streets. There is no smoke without fire. There must be a reason for this. Who is spreading it? It was first spread from a post station in the Divine Capital. This saying spread throughout the entire Divine Capital in half a day. However, many people don't believe it. This servant thought that Your Majesty ponders this matter daily and dared not delay. Your Majesty is wise and brilliant and will surely have a clear judgment. Has anyone tried this method? The eunuch shook his head. This method of cutting the Golden Lotus was like swinging a blade to commit suicide. It was normal not to believe it. Lu Yen had studied this for so many years, and the number of nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm experts who had died because of it was uncountable. On the bookshelf behind him, one section was filled with death lists. The heavens have confined the cultivation of human cultivators to the nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm. The longer the time, the more people who remain in this realm naturally accumulate like sand into a tower. Despite this, not everyone can step into the 8-leaf, let alone enter the 9-leaf. Pass on my decree. Gather 100 people willing to cut their Golden Lotuses. The Great Flame never lacks population. Those at 1 leaf of the nascent Divinity Realm can participate. It doesn't have to be 8-leaf experts. Normal cultivators might not be willing to cut their Golden Lotus, but there are many who are about to die. Old people whose time is near, cultivators with serious illnesses or injuries, or people who are pessimistic about life. Rather than dying in vain, they might as well try cutting their Golden Lotus. Great rewards will surely attract brave men. After the chief eunuch left, Lu Yen raised a single palm, and a miniature 100 Tribulation Insight avatar floated above it. If cutting the Golden Lotus could succeed, it would mean he would need to give up his 8-leaf cultivation and start over by growing new leaves. Even I, the Emperor, do not know if I can do it. Extra! A major discovery in advancing to 9-leaf. The method of cutting the Golden Lotus caused a huge uproar. In a very short time, this method was divided into 3 factions: the Lie faction, the Radical faction, and the Trial faction. Underworld sect branch. Yu Xinghai paced back and forth with his hands behind his back. Hua Chongyang, Bai Yuqing, Yang Yan, and Di Qing stood in a row, their heads bowed. Please, sect master, punish us. It was this subordinate who failed to stop Mr. 7th. Please, sect master, punish me. In the Battle of Lian State, the Underworld sect won, and won beautifully. The 10 cities of Lian State all fell into the hands of the Underworld sect. However, the sect master was not happy at all. Yu Xinghai kept a straight face, watching the 4 of them kneel. In a fit of anger, he slammed his fist into the wall beside them. Without my 7th junior brother, how do you expect me to unify the world? Like those fools outside, believing the rumor about cutting the Golden Lotus, the 4 great protectors knelt on one knee, not even daring to breathe loudly. Mr. 7th insisted on returning to the evil Sky Pavilion, and we were unable to stop him. Besides, the old senior's cultivation is terrifying. Even an expert like Xianglai couldn't last a single move against the old senior. Get up. Since he insists on going back, I will respect his choice. If he didn't respect it, what else could he do? Go and snatch Siwuya back? Then what is our next step? Before 7th junior brother went to Lian State, he drafted a plan to isolate the divine capital. He simulated all the possibilities, and no matter which one, if the isolation plan is executed, the underworld sect will eventually take the divine capital. Mr. 7th is so. What a pity. What a pity. The other three also shook their heads and sighed. What a pity. What a pity. Achoo! Perhaps the cold wind in the reflection cave was a bit chilly, as Siwuya, whose cultivation was sealed, sneezed heavily. 7th senior brother, why won't you reveal the whereabouts of the crystal? Did Master ask you to get information out of me? 7th senior brother, with my intelligence, do you think I can get any information out of you? If Master wanted to choose someone, he would choose 4th senior brother, right? Not long after returning to the evil Sky Pavilion, your bootlicking skills have improved. I don't like hearing that. 7th senior brother, equating honesty with bootlicking is a great insult to me. That's enough. To be honest, I only know that the crystal ended up in the western frontier, not within the borders of the Great Flame. 7th senior brother, with your intelligence, it shouldn't be difficult to help Master find the crystal, right? So quickly, you've become completely loyal to the evil Sky Pavilion? I think the evil Sky Pavilion is much better than before. Look at the east, south, west, and north pavilions. There are more people than before. There's food, drink, a place to sleep, and little girls watching the sunrise and sunset, and a few shameless old men bragging every day. I quite like the current state of things. Trying to get the whereabouts of the crystal for me? Really, I'm not. The western frontier has 5 kingdoms: Wuxian, Lulan, Susen, Changgu, and Qigong. The crystal was lost by him personally. How can we find it in such a large place with 5 kingdoms? Secondly, no one can be sure if the crystal has been opened, or if it has already fallen into the hands of the foreign tribes of the 7 northern kingdoms. It was sealed by Master, so it should be difficult for others to open, right? Just as 4th senior brother said. Can you guarantee that all your judgments will be correct? There are no absolutes in this world. Since that's the case, then you might as well confess truthfully. Master won't make things difficult for you. What you think is the truth becomes a malicious lie when it reaches Master. Just as the words were spoken, a light snort was heard from outside the reflection cave. 7th senior brother, and I even spoke up for you. How could you think of Master like that? If it weren't for Master, you would have died long ago. Junior sister, that's not what I meant. You self-righteous, annoying person. Zhu Honghong and Siwuya looked at each other. Even junior sister misunderstands me. Zhu Honghong dared not speak. Siwuya shook his head. One more person wouldn't make a difference. He was used to it. Old 8th, tell me about the situation at the evil Sky Pavilion. Let's start with those old men. After comprehending the heavenly writing, Lu Zhou felt that his extraordinary power was almost saturated, and he relaxed a little. On the ancient sheepskin map, apart from the few places that were clearly displayed, the other areas were still a hazy gray, and nothing could be seen. The outline of the Wuxian mountain area, however, was clearer than before. Could you Shanrong have already reached Wuxian mountain? He opened the system interface. Merit points, 44200. He was still more than 50,000 short of being able to purchase the 100 Tribulation Insight. This lottery draw consumed 50 merit points, and he received 10 reversal cards. Reversal cards? Lu Zhou finally understood. The system's prize rate was high in the early stages, but now it provided rewards based on the host's needs. Dare to reward me with an avatar? Lu Zhou did 20 consecutive draws in one go. All of them, thank you for participating. He hadn't gotten anything decent in a long time. All of them were reversal cards. He bought 2 Lethal Strike cards. As for the others, he decided to forget it. None of them seemed as appealing as Lethal Strike. The current Lethal Strike card was truly his ultimate trump card. Just as Lu Zhou was contemplating his next move, Zhao Yu appeared outside the East Pavilion. A flying letter from Jian Aijian. Old senior, there are 2 things that need to be explained. The matter of the 9 leaf in the palace that you asked me to investigate has some leads. There is indeed someone in the palace researching the 9 leaf matter, but this has always been very secretive, and my people cannot get involved. Currently, we only know that there is a huge hidden force in the divine capital doing this, and they are extremely vigilant. Your move of announcing the cutting of the golden lotus to the world will probably anger them quite a bit. The righteous sects of the world are restarting the demon-slaying alliance plan. You should be careful, old senior. The move with Li Genie in Lian State City. Are you satisfied with it? Ha! This flying letter from Jian Aijian reminds this disciple of some things. When this disciple was in the imperial palace, I heard people say that the current emperor never holds court. When the Empress Dowager was critically ill, this disciple did not see the emperor either. Later, I heard from Uniquely that the emperor was busy with important affairs. What important affairs could there be that are more important than Lian State City or the Empress Dowager? He indeed has more important matters.